Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, classmates. We are the group 11, and we will discuss all about the topic Rizal's most contested and ever incontestable manuscripts by Jesus Maria Cavanna. So, let's start. Okay. So, on the screen, I'll be explaining about these things. So, as you can read that. In addition, Rizal's holograph was brought to the Ateneo and then to the Archbishop's Palace, where many other persons had the chance to examine, read, and get copies of it. On that same day as well, the text of the document was published, correctly in some papers or with some very slight and insubstantial discrepancy of a word, more or a word less in other papers. So after some time, the document with some 35 other similar or related documents bound together in a folder about 100 or 1/2 inch thick was kept in the Archbishop's archives. And for almost 12 years, nobody came out to question its existence or its genuineness. It was only at the end of 1908 when, according to Teodoro M. Calao, de la Masoneria Filipina, Manila, 1920, on his page 202. So the Masons started a campaign against the falsehood of the alleged abjuration of Rizal. So therefore, the document could not be easily located then when the archives of the Manila Archdiocese were simply heaps and bundles of thousands of papers materially piled up in some few shelves in a sort of cellar. So probably no serious efforts were done to hunt for a needle lost in the proverbial haystack. Alright, so now let's proceed with Father P.U.P. or P.U.P. La Muerte Cristiana del Dr. Rizal, Manila, 1909. So, the first bullet or you can see on the screen. You can read that by the way. And then, furthermore, according to him, it was useless because for those who thought that Rizal's greatness lies on his anti-Catholic ideas and writings, the retraction document became a total denial of such greatness, and that could not be. And so, they kept on claiming that Rizal's retraction could not be accepted unless the original document be produced. So, guys, the claim was obviously unreasonable, right? So, in legal procedure and in historical methodology, direct and circumstantial evidence will bring the certainty of a disputed fact even in the absence of the best evidence. So, and this is what Gonzalo Maria Piñana achieved in his work Muriel el Dr. Rizal Cristianamente, Reconstitution de las Últimas Horas de su Vida. So, he gathered the testimonies of the contemporary papers, look for all the surviving witnesses, and saw to it that each one would sign their sworn statements before some recognized notary public, legalizing their documents before the proper consular authorities, so that no legal requisite be wanting to the perfect validity of such accredited public instruments. So note that the text included in Father Pi's or Pi's booklet was not the text of Rizal's holograph.
Good morning, leaders. This is Mervic Sullivan, your second reporter. I will be the one to continue the report from Miss Salon. So for continuation, let's proceed to the next topic, which is the canard of Rizal retractions. So her Cavanna is making a review of a certain booklet that was produced regarding the canard of Rizal retractions. He emphasized that he will only focus on the pertinent pages of the book since out of 186 pages Only 8 or 9 have a topic that relates to the title Rizal retraction, and the rest have nothing to do with the announced retraction. So, since the book insistently declares that Rizal did not retract, Cavanna then made a review of what he read in the booklet, especially the 3 sentences or 16 lines where he pointed out 8 groundless, untenable, and erroneous statements being written on the booklet, which he managed to answer one by one and will be discussed by the next reporter. So let's continue to the next slide. The booklet wrote in the introduction that there are 2 supposedly retractions. The first original retraction, according to the booklet, Father Pio Pi, published in Spain in 1909 as an alleged verbatim copy of the original. Cavanna then made comments that the arguments and the facts amassed and presented by the author were insubstantial. He proves that by pointing out the statement of the booklet that Father Pio Pi published in Spain that were actually printed in Manila, Imperanta de Santos Cibernal, Dalumbayan, 80 Santa Cruz. To clarify, move abort or report, the next reporter will explain more about Cavanna's review of the booklet. Thank you and God bless everyone.
Once again, good morning everyone. I am Mian Singson and I will continue the discussion. So let's proceed to number 4. According to the booklet, the second retraction was published in the Philippines. Now here, Cavanna pointed out that the booklet is wrong of writing that there is a second original retraction and was published in the Philippines. Because there's only one original retraction, the one that is being penned at 11:30 p.m. of December 29, 1896. That was being kept in the archives of the Archdiocese of Manila. And during that time, there are a lot of copies being produced since 1935, and they all came from the only one and very same original holograph of Rizal. And that every discrepancies or slips found is understandable because it might due to many reasons like errors of typography, the slips of copyist pen. The booklet claims that Rizal's holograph, which is being found by Father Manuel Garcia in 1935, are different from the text published by Father Pio Pai in 1909, who happens to be one of the living eyewitnesses during Rizal's retraction in 1896. So for Cavanna, this claim is only to confuse the reader, since for him, there is nothing to confuse, because the first text that the booklet was referring to was not published in Spain. Instead, the first text being published was apparently the text that is being found in Rizal's holograph, the very text that appeared in Diario de Manila on December 30, 1896. Now, the first text that the booklet refers to, which Father Pai included in his opuscules in 1909, is actually the second, since it was published in the magazine La Juventud of Barcelona, Spain, a month after Rizal's death. So, Cavanna thinks that if there is a small mistake found, such as word less or lacking of letter or more, every discrepancies are easy to explain. But the main point is that the booklet should have written instead that the first text was published in Philippines and the second in Spain. Now let's proceed to number 5. Father Pio Pai published his opuscule La Muerte Cristiana del Dr. Rizal in Spanish Peninsula. So here, Cavanna pointed out other mistakes of the booklet statements, insisting that Father Pai published his opuscule in the Spanish Peninsula, when it is already obvious that the opuscule were published in Manila, and it was printed in capital letters saying Manila Imprenta de Santos y Bernal. Now, let's proceed to number 6. Father Pai published La Muerte Cristiana, possibly to correct Quintana's version, published earlier. Now here, Cavanna clarified that it's impossible for Padre Pio to correct Quintana's versions. Why? Since there's no need for him to do that. Because the version of Britanna's retraction are identical to Father Pio. There's only one typographical found that 6 instead of 9 was written, but other than that,
From first words to last words, every word coincides each other. He also pointed that in Ritana's book, you can never found the claim that the text published is a true copy of the retraction, as what the booklet writes. Let's proceed to number 7. Father Pio Pai claimed that this was true copy of original Rizal retraction. Just like what the booklet claims about Ritana's version, there is no evidence found that Father Pai claimed the accusation. And if the booklet is telling the truth, then why not put a reference if what page we can see where Ritana or Father Pai wrote the said claims? Now let's proceed to number 8. Rizal's crafty enemies were in such haste to exhibit their prize that they actually presented the first original retraction in 1909, the second in 1935. Again, Cavanna questioned the given statement, pointing out about the word haste used by the booklet, meaning in hurry or in excessive action, which contradicts to what really happens, since Father Pai Opuscule was published in 1909, and then after 13 years, that's a long years to count, that Father Garcia find the Rizal's holograph in 1935, which the booklet refers to as the second retraction. Second, the booklet claimed that there is 4 versions of Rizal's retraction, and those are of Pai, Ritana, Ortiz, and Garcia. Now, according to Cavanna, since Ritana and Pai are almost identical, then it now become 3. He also said that he knew nothing about Father Ortiz, and he has no access of the copy to the translation of Ortiz, and that since Father Ortiz has questionable authenticity, so from 3, he focused to the 2 texts, one from Ritana, Pai's, and one from Garcia version, which is Rizal's own holograph. Now, the book ends with conversation explaining about the 2 original retraction. That there's actually a 2 original retraction of Rizal. Now, the first one is found by Father Pai Garcia in 1935. He also explained that there's a number of differences between the 2 texts. In the second text, there is italicized word, a whole clause in parentheses, including accents, punctuation marks, and many more, which made the 2 texts different from each other. Now, these differences are being explained that the italicized words are those which Rizal of his own, which being added or modified to the proposed formula, and that is what the Jesuit is copying. The rest of ordinary Romans are the words of the proposed formula, which is also include the words that Rizal did not write in his retractions, and you can find those words being in clauses in parentheses. So it only clarifies that the text of Father Pai is actually the original formula proposed for the retraction, which according to Jesuits were added or modified by Rizal, which only means that there is one original retraction of Rizal, the one that Garcia found, and one original proposed formula to Rizal by the Jesuits, and that is the text of Father Pai. Now, they are different since the formula proposed contained a whole clause which Rizal did not include in his original retraction. And since the words added and modified by Rizal is not included in his original retraction as a respect of it, the Jesuit then record it in the draft of the formula proposed, and since he only writes it based on listening to what Rizal's dictation, that explains why he slightly missed one word and a letter. Lastly, the difference between capitalization, accentuation, and marks of punctuation is understandable. Why? That since the 2 texts are written by 2 different persons. First is Rizal, second is Father Pai. So, before I'm going to end our report, I just want to leave this message that whether Rizal as retracted or not, this is will not diminish Rizal's stature as a great hero. With such greatness, he is still our hero who courted death just to demonstrate to those who contest our patriotism that we are capable of dying of our duties and beliefs. So that's all for our report. Thank you so much for listening and watching. May God bless you.